Some of the biggest questions in people's minds today have to do with biblical prophecy and with things that are going to be happening in the last days. Also, much concern these days about the subject of artificial intelligence. That's what we're talking about here today on the Christian Whistleblower. We're going to talk about an ancient prophecy of artificial intelligence being an electronic Antichrist. That's right. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty. This is the Christian Whistleblower. That's what we're talking about here today. I spent 20 years as a licensed minister. I have a Bible college degree, over 100,000 hours of study in the biblical scriptures. And we try to bring you information to help unindoctrinate yourself and get you to be unsophisticated. So great show this morning with Wayne Steiger, the Not Your Normal Sunday show. If you missed that, you definitely do need to go back and take a look at it. Very, very interesting, very, very powerful program. And tonight, I want you to know a special presentation of The Last Stand with Jay Campbell and a special guest. So let's talk about AI Antichrist prophecy during the end times. It's actually an end times AI Antichrist prophecy. And when we talk about end times, we're talking about the concept, the belief that we're heading into what some people call the end of times. When we're talking about Antichrist, we're talking about a future Superman, boogeyman. And when we're talking about AI, we're obviously talking about artificial intelligence, ladies and gentlemen. Now, you know, I've been talking about scripted prophecy, which is a agenda that's made up by the Pauline, Herodian, Jesuit, Roman fear and guilt control matrix. And then there's real prophecy, which is brought to us by the divine. And J.R. Herrera says he can't wait for me to be on Coast to Coast AM. Well, it's funny you should bring that up, J.R., because I want to give you this tonight as a tiny bit of a preview. This is from Coast to Coast AM's website. And I just saw this today, and I didn't know that George wanted to talk about this. It says in the first half of the show on Christmas night, a former minister for the Assemblies of God, me, will discuss the origins of Jesus and his message, as well as UFO and ET imagery associated with his birth. And I guess I'm going to update my work on AI and how passages in the Bible describe what we now know to be computers and how robots are increasingly evolving to exclude humans in their interactions. I didn't know I was going to be talking about that. But it looks like I am going to be talking about that. And looks like on the second half, we're going to have somebody talking about Christmas miracles and angelic interventions, amazing synchronicities and coincidences, which defy logic and statistics. That should be interesting. Let's take a quick look at this touchedbyheaven.net, the guy that's going to be following me. Poor guy, everyday encounters with God. What do you think the viewers of Coast to Coast AM, ladies and gentlemen, are thinking when they look at this website? Oh, well, that's nice. Everyday encounters with God. And who's this guy that's going to be on first? What's his website look like? Oh, crap. There's a little bit of difference, ladies and gentlemen, but it should be an interesting and fun time had by all on Christmas night, Coast to Coast AM. If you're in the West Coast, 10 p.m. to midnight. If you're on the East Coast, 1 to 3 a.m. If you're in the middle, you have to figure it out because I'm really, really bad at math. But let's go ahead and talk about this. Let's go ahead and jump right in because I know we don't want to waste a lot of time. Your time is very valuable. I appreciate you sharing it with me. I'm going to go right to the prophecy, which is given by Daniel. And this is one of those times it gets very, very curious and very, very interesting because it's actually a prophetic scripture about scripted prophecy. It's Daniel telling us by prophecy something that is going to be scripted prophecy. Daniel's telling us something that the fear and guilt control matrix is going to be trying to do to us. And this is perhaps a secondary meaning of this great prophetic vision that most of you are very familiar with. But Daniel was summoned by the king. The king had told him that he had a vision of a big statue. The statue had a head of fine gold. The statue had breasts and arms of silver. The belly of this and the thighs of this thing were brass. The legs were iron. And then the feet were part of iron and part of clay. And the king watched until a stone that was cut without hands smote the image upon its feet, and it broke them into pieces, and the iron and the clay and the brass and the silver and the gold all broke, and they became like the chaff of the summer threshing floors, and the wind carried them away, that there was no room found for them. And the stone that smote the image had become a great mountain and had filled the whole earth. And let me just kind of give you an idea of the summation of all this. I'll tell you the end before I tell you the beginning. Fall. Talk among yourselves for a minute. All right, so I'm going to show you something. Take a look at this, ladies and gentlemen. This is what we're talking about. And let me just show you again real quickly what Daniel said. The summation of the whole thing, Daniel said that the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, the gold will be broken together, become like chaff of the summer threshing floors that the wind will carry away. And the stone that smites the image will become a great mountain, filled the whole earth. Makes me think of Matthew 21:44. He who falls upon this stone, Matthew talking about a great stone that smotes the image, he that falls upon this stone will be broken to pieces. But he on whom the stone falls will be crushed. And if we looked in the King James, this is a newer Berean Bible study version, he will be ground to powder. In fact, let's just, Matthew 21:44, let's just go to the King James and show you that so you don't think I'm trying to pull any wool over your eyes. 21:44, it will grind him to powder. So Daniel talking about a stone that's going to break this system, this image, and that the stone will fill the whole earth, and the stone will grind those that oppose it into powder. And of course, Daniel also said that it would be grind into chaff. Chaff is powder that's left over from the threshing of wheat, and the wind will carry it away. So we're obviously talking about powder, something being ground to powder, and it will be blown away. And I think you'll probably be blown away by understanding that. Didn't do much with my hair today, did I? By understanding that the prophecy that Daniel has just given is actually a prophecy about artificial intelligence. It's a prophecy about computer networks. And I'm going to break it down for you so you can see it in the original Hebrew language. So we're going to go to verse 31 here, and we're going to start breaking this down for you. And I'm going to show you exactly how this image of gold and silver and all of that is actually, ladies and gentlemen, a remarkably detailed prophecy of computer networks, especially coupled with Daniel's vision in chapter 9 of a system that would come just as knowledge was beginning to increase. And when you combine these two things together, you get a very, very powerful revelation. And let me get over to that powerful revelation. The head and image were of gold. And that word gold means just exactly that, ladies and gentlemen. It's gold. And one of the reasons why gold is considered such a great investment is because gold, you guessed it, is at the heart of computer networks. Gold is at the heart of computer networks. You can't have a computer network without having gold, ladies and gentlemen. That's one of the reasons why gold is so coveted. That's one of the reasons why gold is worth so much money. That's one of the reasons why gold has always been considered a great investment. Gold is at the very heart, ladies and gentlemen, or at the head of the central processing units of all computer systems. Your CPUs of computers are filled with gold. There's lots of gold in the heads or the CPUs, the central processing units of computers. Daniel said that this image that would try to take over would have a head of gold. And he also said that its chest and its arms would be like silver, ladies and gentlemen. Its heads and its arms would be like silver. One of the great reasons that silver is, or always has been, such a great investment as well, is because silver is also heavily used within computer networks and computer networking devices. Lots and lots of silver, lots of gold in the head, the CPU, lots of silver in the thighs and the arms, the strength, the networking of the computer systems. And then Daniel says that there would be bronze, ladies and gentlemen. The arms and chest, of course, are silver. And then he said that the arms would be bronze. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Well, Jeff, there goes your analogy, because there's no bronze in computers. You're right, but he's not talking about bronze anyway. He's talking about copper. He's talking about copper, ladies and gentlemen. And he's talking about not just copper, but he's talking about the thighs. The belly is made out of copper. The very digestive system, the very distribution system, the way that the thing moves around and gets around, legs are made of copper. Ladies and gentlemen, do you know that almost, let's say a vast majority of you that are receiving, no, every single one of you that's receiving, almost every single one of you that's receiving this message tonight, you are receiving it over what? You're receiving it over copper. No, Jeff, I've got fiber. Well, I was in the internet industry for a lot of years, and what you almost always have is copper to a node that's in your neighborhood, and then you're going to have fiber from that copper node to your house. But bottom line is, you're not getting any connectivity to the internet or through any of your devices unless it's over copper. Gold in the head or the CPUs, silver in the chest and shoulders, the building blocks, the internetworking devices as Rooney makes his appearance. And then copper actually connecting it through the digestive system, taking it everywhere, through the thighs, it moving around. Copper. And the bearded one tells me that bronze is copper and tin. That's very interesting. So Daniel's saying that this thing of gold, let me use my inside voice, this thing of silver, this thing of bronze, ladies and gentlemen, and also, ladies and gentlemen, this thing that is of iron and of clay. Well, when it says it's of iron, it's talking about, and it's talking about, having the iron. And when you're talking about your actual routers, your actual computers, you're talking about a lot of iron involved there. And then it's also, sorry, I just got a text that distracted me a minute. And we're also talking about clay. And what is clay? Ladies and gentlemen, clay is silicate. Clay is silicon. And what are many of the chips made of? They're made of silicon, ladies and gentlemen. They're made of silicon. Wow. Are you shaking your head yet? Partly of iron, partly of silicon. And while Daniel was watching, while you're watching this system build, and many of you right now are very afraid, many of you right now are very worried, Many of you are very worried and concerned about the rise of AI. You're worried about the rise of artificial intelligence, and it's going to take over, and it's going to run us all. It's going to destroy us all. I'm here today on Christmas Eve to tell you not to worry. I'm here on Christmas Eve to tell you not to be concerned. I'm here on Christmas Eve to tell you that it's going to be all right. I know there's a lot of people that want to scare you. I know there's a lot of people that want to worry you. I know there's a lot of people that want to make you get all filled with anxiety over AI taking over. But yes, Daniel said it's going to try to take over. But look what else Daniel also said, ladies and gentlemen. He said that even as this system is building, there will be a stone that is cut without hands. How many of you have heard of the chief cornerstone? How many of you have heard of the cornerstone cut and built without hands? How many of you have heard of that allusion to the Christ, the Spirit of the Christ, the power of the Christ being a stone that is cut without hands? The Spirit of the Christ, the stone that's cut without hands, will come, ladies and gentlemen, and will strike that image. It's going to strike that image. It's going to smite that image. And where's it going to strike it, ladies and gentlemen? It's going to strike it in its feet of iron and in its feet of clay. It's going to strike it at the end user level, ladies and gentlemen. And what are the end user level? What is the end user level? That's you and me. We're the end users. The stone without hands is going to come and strike the end users, the us, the people, because we are the stone cut without hands. Know you not that you are the Christ, and the Spirit of God dwells in you? Know you not that you have the spark of divinity within you? Know you not that you are God's? Know you not that the kingdom of heaven is in you? Yes, AI is growing. Yes, AI is developing. Yes, AI is scary. And yes, AI wants to take over. And it is gold, and it is silver, and it is copper, and it is iron, and it is silicate chips. Well, Jeff, why aren't you worried? I'm not worried because I know there's a stone that is cut without hands, ladies and gentlemen. And that stone is going to crush, is going to strike that image, that system, that artificial intelligence, and it is going to become like chaff. It is going to be completely and totally destroyed. And the summation of it says, Daniel says that there was found no trace of it. But the stone, the me, the you, we grow and we fill the entire earth. And that word, to fill the entire earth, has a beautiful meaning because it means that we fill it, we bring it to be full, we bring it to its full potentiality. So, ladies and gentlemen, all the people out there trying to scare you with this verse, all the people out there trying to worry you with these verses, all the people out there trying to use prophecy to scare you, ladies and gentlemen, all these people trying to bring prophecy to give you fear and anxiety and doubt. Yes, we know. Yes, we know that the AI system is rising. Yes, we know that the AI system does want to conquer us, but those that are of faith, those that have the sophistication and the ability to see with eyes that see and to hear with ears that hear, those of us that are walking in the life and the life more abundant, those of us that are in the ways and the truths that lead unto life, we know that yes, AI is on the rise, and yes, AI is scary, but we also know that AI is going to be brought down. It's going to be destroyed, and it's not going to be found anywhere anymore. The New Jerusalem ain't going to make it. And if the New Jerusalem does make it, it'll just be destroyed and ground to powder. The Antichrist is not going to take over, but if he does, he'll be destroyed and ground to powder. Plastic Jesus ain't going to make it back, but if he does, he's going to be destroyed and ground to powder. I take exception with that Cazador. He does not have to rise to fall. The Antichrist power is already risen, and it ain't the rising that's going on now, cousins. It's the falling. It ain't the rising that's coming down that's taking place now, cousins. It's the fallen. It ain't the rising that's coming. It's the falling, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. Isn't that something? At 10 o'clock tonight in the East, Jay Campbell will be joining me for a special edition of The Last Stand. And what we're going to be talking about tonight on The Last Stand are a few topics. Listen to this. We're going to look at the source-God conflict, the perception of God as an external thought form, or a source of isness, beingness, and becomingness. We're going to look at man versus God, man as God versus the expression of source God. Discerning our true power as unique expressions of the divine in a collective, not just in one world or one people religion. We're going to talk about becoming an angelic archetype. That demon stuff is like so yesterday. Each of us can do as planetary custodians and participate in the human narrative. We're going to talk about nurturing internal power, self-love, self-responsibility, self-expression, co-creating a vision for the world and for your world. And we're going to talk about letting go, moving beyond dialectical thought forms from this or that to plus and other. And Jay says, boom. Can you see Jay saying, boom? That's coming up tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern, on The Last Stand. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, there is an end-time AI Antichrist prophecy. Antichrist tries. Christopher Bryden says that Daniel wasn't a prophet of Yahweh. That's right. And Christopher, I hope you know that that's good. But that will be coming up tonight. And there is an AI end-time Antichrist prophecy. And the prophecy is he will rise, but he's also gonna fall. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, that is, the Lord is mentioned in Daniel, but only in it didn't say anything good about him. Let's put it that way. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, very powerful stuff. I'm glad that you came to the show. Very happy that you were able to do so. Very happy to see you always. Enjoy you being here. And I hope that you'll be to the show tonight. And we're not here to, is the Bible true? About 25% of it. And that was a good example. Daniel chapter 3, talking about what is being used as a scripted prophecy to scare you, but giving you some prophetic scripture that is going to give you hope in the midst of fear. That's what I'm all about. I'm not here to give you fear, because the true divinity is not giving us a spirit of fear. And I'm here to defeat the fear and give you the spirit of power and grace and of a sound mind. So you can be filled with hope. You can be filled with expectation, and you can quit worrying about chopping heads and trumpets and vials and antichrist and temples and heifers, and start concentrating on unindoctrinating yourself and getting out of the place of unsophistication and getting into a place of unindoctrination. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. That's the kind of things we talk about on this channel. We're here to shine the light into the dark corners of orthodoxy. We're here to show you that it's not religion. It's not God that you hate. It's religion. Religion is a snare and a racket, but the divine is here to bring you life and life more abundant. And we're here to help you stop being unsophisticated and help you become unindoctrinated. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, your friendly neighborhood Christian whistleblower. And we'll see you again tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern time. And don't forget Christmas night, Coast to Coast AM. The first 2 hours of that great show, check the Coast to Coast AM website for your local stations. And let me just run through and see if there's anything I can answer here for you. I know there's a lot of people in the chat room. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get into all of the questions, but let me see if there's anything I need to touch and hit upon. Tina Bott Kurt is awaking from a sleep. Great. Quite a mix of topics, absolutely, for this morning. Lots of a mix of topics. Looks like we had to do some moderating, and that's okay. Great comments about the metals. New Atlantean talks about Daniel and the pineal gland. That's interesting stuff. More talk about silicon, birthstones, good stuff. No fear, absolutely. What are we talking about? The metal god, absolutely. Can we trust the Bible? Not really. That's why you have to study it and learn it. Someone asked about the Pleiades on the shoulder. I don't know what that means. Good stuff, brother. Thank you, Christopher Biden. The dark corners of the mind, absolutely. Thank you, Charlotte, for being a fan of mine. How can we know that Bible's truth? You just have to get to where you know what part of the Bible's true. There's really no easy way. Practice, practice, practice. Merry Christmas to all of you as well. And thank you very much for hanging around. Thank you very much for spending part of your Christmas Eve with yours truly. And we will see you tonight, ladies and gentlemen, at 10 p.m. Eastern time. Yes, I think the creepy Alexa glitch was just a glitch. I really do. We're absolutely in the dark to what's going on in the world. There's a dark side we obviously don't see. Yes, but we can. So Merry Christmas to all. And we'll see you again at 10 p.m. tonight. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the friendly neighborhood Christian whistleblower. You are the best chat room on YouTube. So let's be guide our own spirits. Let's master our own ascension. Let's be our own gurus. Let's create ourselves. And the best way to do that is to stop being unsophisticated and get yourself unindoctrinated. We're the last generation of real humans. Let's get busy. And please subscribe to this channel. Before you go, if you're not subscribed, hit that subscription button. Hit the bell again to make sure that you are being notified. And please hit the like button as well. Subscribe and like. Even if you don't like me, hit the like button. Even if you don't like me, subscribe. Thank you very much. We'll see you again tonight at 10 p.m.